Join me in a word of prayer. May the words of our mouths and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, the Lord our rock and your redeemer. So I got a question for you. I'm sure this never happens to any of you. You never think these thoughts. Do you ever think that life is not fair? Oh, okay. Maybe some of you do. Do you ever think that it just doesn't go right all the time? Sometimes stuff just happens. Really, sometimes really bad stuff happens. It's just not fair, right? You ever think that? I bet if you lived in New Jersey right now, or in New York right now, and if you have not had electricity for close to 2 weeks, you're thinking, you know, life is not fair. Other people are getting their lights on, I'm not getting my lights on, what's the deal? And if you're waiting for hours to get gasoline, life's not fair. How come I have to wait for gas? People in Wisconsin probably aren't waiting for gas. I'm in New Jersey, I'm waiting for gas. It's not fair. I bet if you lost your house and home and members of your family, you know full well life is not fair. So yes, ever get that feeling that life is not fair? Ever get that feeling that, you know, life sometimes stuff happens in my life that I'm not real happy about, so life is not fair. That's one side of the coin. The other side of life not being fair is you look at other people who are doing strange things, and yet there is this, but not quite over there. But they're doing fine. How come everything's going okay for them? You know, the stuff should not be going okay for them. Life's not fair because everything's going okay for them. Ever get that feeling too? That kind of judgmental stuff about how come everything's okay for them and not for me? What's the deal here? Life's not fair. Ever get that? And then ever come up to thinking, okay, where's God in the midst of all this stuff? In the midst of all this stuff where life is not fair, when real tragedy, real chaos, and real stuff happens, how come God's not taking care of this? After all, if I trust God, if I believe in God, God will make everything okay. How come that's not happening? If it's not happening, then what's the point of this faith stuff anyway? Ever get to that point where you think, I don't see any point to it at all? Why am I going to church? Why do I believe in God? Doesn't seem to matter too much. Life is not fair. Stuff just happens. So if you ever think that way, maybe you've never thought that way, but if you ever think that way, there's two stories in the Bible. They're just all about that. We had a whole bunch. One of them is the story of Jonah. I'll get that one in just a second. The other story is the story of Job. Story of Job. Let's start with that one. The story of Job, just to remind us what that is all about. Job's life is perfect. Truly perfect. Job is doing everything right. He's a God-fearing and God-loving and faith-filled person. Job is a good guy. And he's got a really, really good family. He's got a lot of really good children. They're doing really, really well. His fields are doing very prosperous. His cattle are full. Everything is going right, as it should, because Job's a good guy. And then all of a sudden, one day, it all comes crashing to an end, right? The cattle die of a disease. The fields are overrun by insects, and they get wiped out. His children die. Job himself is full of all sorts of disease, and boils start popping out. And his question is, what's going on? One day, everything's just fine. Now, my life is a total disaster. God, what's going on? Why is this happening to me? Of course, little Job has 3 friends who are of absolutely no help to him whatsoever. One friend tries to defend God. Well, you know. Another friend says, well, Job, you must have done something wrong or something. And Job says, no, I didn't do anything wrong. Show me where I did something wrong. And Job keeps saying, God, what's the deal? I demand an explanation for why these horrible things are happening to me in my life. It's just not right. It's just not fair. Right. That's one side. Jonah has the other side. And we really like, Jonah is a really good children's story, I guess. On one hand, we really like it. Look at the bulletin cover, it has that big fish on it. It's like, wow, Jonah's all about that. The story of Jonah is really a whale of a tale. Still listen. All right. And we really like it because it's a whale of a tale. We got that big fish, and Jonah gets swallowed up, and then the fish spits him out. Then there's that bush, and the bush that dies, and Jonah gets all upset. Really, that's a really cool story until we really read it and think, wait a second, there's a lot of stuff going on. doesn't want to go to Nineveh. And there's really good reason why Jonah doesn't want to go to the city of Nineveh. They're not good people. They have done really a lot of horrible, horrible things, that city of Nineveh, against all their neighbors. That city of Nineveh, if there's any city that deserves God's judgment and punishment, it is those people of Nineveh. So Jonah does not want to go there. Those people don't deserve anything of God's love and grace. They should be punished and destroyed. So Jonah thinks. Why doesn't he go? He eventually goes. He walks a day and a half. Huge city. You might think of Chicago. It takes a day and a half of walking. I'm not saying Chicago's like this, but it's a big city. He walks a day and a half into the middle of the city and says, okay, you guys repent, and God will be gracious and forgiving. And then he leaves. Then he sits on top of the hill and watches the destruction of Nineveh. 30 days go by, and of course there's no destruction. Because the people have repented. They put on the sackcloth. Even the animals have put on the sackcloth. And God's justice has said, I forgive them. My love and grace and mercy is for them. And Jonah says, no! I knew you were going to do that. That's exactly why I did not want to go, because your love, grace, and mercy is for those people who should be destroyed. It's not right. Okay. Those are the two sides of the coin. One side of Job. I did everything right. Still horrible stuff is happening to you. How come, God? How come, God? I want some explanations. The other story is Jonah. Those people deserve punishment and you're not doing it. What's the deal, God? How come they get off? Why is your love and grace for those people? It's not right. You need to explain this to me now. All right. Ever been there? Those are the two big sides of the coin. We all get there at some point. Life isn't fair. Life isn't just. Stuff is happening to us that shouldn't be happening. Visit other people who would think, hey, doesn't seem right. They should get some of the kind of crummy torment that we get to face in. And a lot of people come up to these things. They come up to these crises and chaoses in life, and they say, fine, if God isn't going to fix this, I thought God was all powerful and God can fix this stuff, but God isn't fixing this stuff, so what's the point? And they leave. They just say, forget it, God. I don't want nothing to do with it. You're not going to solve my problems for me. You're going to do anything good for me. I'm just walking out. I don't want anything to do with you anymore. And that group of people is growing. It's getting pretty big in our country now. People just say, I don't need God. God is of no value in my life. I don't see any benefit of believing in God whatsoever. Okay. And to us, we're sitting here. We know that bad things have happened in our lives. The question is, what are we doing here? God isn't solving the problems. Okay? God doesn't say, here's a bunch of Christian people will make everything go well for you. You know it's not true. It doesn't work that way. So what are we doing here? Why do we continue to believe in this guy who doesn't seem to be able to fix anything? Tragedy and horrible things still happen to everybody. So what are we doing? I've dug the hole as deep as I can dig it. All right? You got to help me out now. Why do we still believe? What's the point of faith? God isn't going to fix stuff. And what's the point of us being? Hope. Hope. That was the first word that you're saying. Hope. Hope in what? Hope. Stand at it if you want. The hope. Hope is part of it. Hope that there's a better place. Hope that it'll get better. Eventually it's going to pan out. What else? There we go. Why do we continue to believe in a God who doesn't seem to be able to fix stuff?
Because through all the tragedies, you see little miracles around.
Okay, because you see the miracles. I mean, you see the miracles. It's not that God causes the tragedies, but in the midst of the tragedy, you can see God at work. And you can see. And there are real, true, blue, honest miracles that happen. It's a pretty awesome type stuff. Thank you. Kind of miracle. Even though we have the medicine and we have the medical, but how we get alive, God's grace. Well, why do we continue to believe? God isn't going to fix stuff. God doesn't fix stuff. Doesn't seem to. Stuff will happen. What?
He never promised.
What? Promise to be what?
With us.
Promise what? I didn't get it.
With us.
What was that? With us. All right, that's the segue to the next part. I'll just go there now. You got Job, and you got Jonah. Job saying, why God is this even though they don't understand any of this, they're still talking to God. And that's why these two stories are still in the Bible, which is the book of God. Now I read, every once in a while, I read these Christian stories where things turn out really nice and things wonderful at the end. And I think, yeah, once in a while that happens, but more likely than not, it doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't happen. The story of Jonah, I think, are true stories. I mean, they're real stories that get to the heart of what this faith of ours is all about. That no matter what happens, no matter how chaotic and horrible your life gets, God is still there. God's saying, I'm with you. Okay? We're going to get through this thing together. I don't like it any better than you like it, but we're going to get through it together. We're going to stick together through thick and thin. There's no way out. And I'm going to be with you forever. There's a lot of people who tragedy hits their lives and say, I trusted God my whole life. And all of a sudden this thing has happened to me. Forget it, God. I didn't think this would ever happen to me. You're not paying attention to my life. So I'm going to ignore you. I'm going to walk away from you. I'm not going to have anything to do with you anymore. And they don't. For days, weeks, months, years, maybe the rest of their lives. They have nothing to do with God ever again. Because they're so offended by what God did or did not do to them, they think. The good news in that is that God never left them. Right? No matter how far away they walked away, God is still walking right beside them. No matter how much they ignore God, God is still paying a lot of attention to them. He can't go. He can't go anywhere because God is not there already, because God is with us always. That's the good news, okay? The crummy news and the sad news and discomforting news, to me especially, is that when people do that, they don't get it. They don't see that God is there. They don't know that they're still connected to the source of the divine love. They're still connected to the source of grace and mercy. They're still connected to the one who creates them, gives them life, loves them so dearly that God became one with them in Jesus Christ. They don't know that. They don't believe that. Well, if you don't have that connection anymore, then where do you go? You do. It's kind of like Peter and the disciples. Remember that? A lot of Jesus saying something about what's going to happen to him and what was going to happen to the followers of him. And a whole bunch of people left Jesus and says, whoa, that's the reality. I'm out of here. Jesus turns to Peter and the disciples and says, hey guys, what are you going to do? You guys going to go somewhere else too? What does Peter say? I just know this pretty good. What does Peter say? Lord, whom shall we go? For you are the one who gives us life. You are the one who gives us joy, hope, peace, and love. You are the one who gives us eternal life. To whom shall we go? And a lot of people say, well, there's a lot of different places you can go. You can go to stuff. You just have enough stuff. If you just have enough money, if you have enough security, then you'll be safe. If you have enough health insurance, you'll be okay. It'll be protected. So, and they'll trust all these things. And eventually all these things fail. I mean, they can't work. They can't work forever because none of those things has a relationship with us, right? Only God has a relationship with us. So where we are. And in our lives, a lot of times we will think bad things will happen to us and we'll think, God, what's going on here? But the cool thing is we can say, God, what's going on here? And God will say, it's really bad. I'm with you in the midst of your tragedy and loss. I will carry you through. We will get through this together. Trust me. Have faith in me. We'll get through it. On the other side of the coin, I don't know. Hey, I'm sure you guys are all really wonderful people. You have never done anything wrong in your life, ever. But imagine if you've ever done anything really, really badly wrong. Really horribly terrible. Imagine your general betrayers. Okay? Imagine what he was going through when he had to tell the President of the United States, I can't do this anymore because of what I've done in my personal life. If you've ever been in that similar kind of situation, imagine what it would be like to hear God say, I still love you. Still care for you. Still with you. You can repent. You can turn around. My love, my grace, my forgiveness is showering down upon you. I will not leave you in the midst of all that you've done wrong. I'm still with you. A fellow who they had the trial for the sentencing of the guy who shot Gabriel in Arizona and all that. And God those of us who are connected to God would say it's more than